Welcome back, everyone, to a brand new box office breakdown show here on Max Talks Movies. My name is Max Denenberg. Today, I'm breaking down the box office of this past weekend, which was June 21st to the 23rd here domestically. We're also going to break down so far this year, the 2023 domestic, 2024, not 2023, 2024 domestic and worldwide numbers. We're also going to preview the upcoming week that's hitting theaters. I'm Max Denenberg. Welcome back to Max Talks Movies. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and ring that bell for notifications. We are growing very quickly here on YouTube, so please join the train here and hit that subscribe button. I talk all things movies, TV, box office, rankings, out of theater reactions, and back to doing every single week live streams. If you want to get your question for me on my weekly live streams, on my weekly live streams, there's a Streamlabs button download to donate to the channel. All that money goes towards getting the YouTube channel better. So please donate and leave me a question that I'll answer for sure on any Q&A show that I do, the next Q&A show that I do. If you want to check it out how it works, my first one was yesterday. Please, in the comment section down below, if you tell me what did you see this past weekend at the box office, what did you see, what are you going to see this upcoming weekend at the box office. Please like the video as well, guys. The thumbs up button. So without further ado, let's get into the past weekend's box office. And let's start with the big winner of 2024 right now, Inside Out 2. And in its second weekend, only dropping 34%, 101 million. In its second weekend, $356 million domestically. It really one full week in theaters. This is the absolute jolt that movies needed, Hollywood needed, theaters needed, and the box office all desperately needed. Because while Dune Part 2, very successful movie, was in the mid 700 million range worldwide, everyone was kind of getting nervous. When would we see a billion-dollar movie? And well, yes, Inside Out 2 is not officially a billion-dollar movie. By next weekend or weekend after, it should be the first movie of the year to hit $1 billion, which is a win for major wins for both Disney and Pixar. I wasn't here last week to do a box office show, so luckily I get to talk about this now. But for Pixar, as I talked about 2 weeks ago, leading into the release of Inside Out 2, this became a struggling studio. Elemental definitely has had one of the worst opening weekends ever for Pixar, but it did have some legs at the box office and very well on streaming. So it was a moderate success, but nothing critically or fan-wise that people talk about a lot. Lightyear lost a studio hundreds of millions of dollars. And then before that, Pixar went consecutive movies not going to theaters, exclusively on streaming. Soul obviously came out in the thick of the pandemic, but then Luca and Turning Red were all exclusively on Disney Plus. And that basically taught the Pixar audiences that to stay at home to watch Pixar movies, which led to some disappointing box office for Lightyear and Elemental. And then even Onward, the last one that came out before the pandemic, came out right before the pandemic started, and it didn't get really a fair shot in theaters. So just a massive win. Pixar was really floundering, some bad headlines over the last month about the direction of the studio. And while Bob Iger and Pete Docter have been very vocal, Bob Iger, who runs Disney, Pete Docter, who runs Pixar, that sequels are going to be the thing moving forward, that they're going to try to focus on. They're going to take some hits with some originals, but they want to keep moving out the sequels. And Inside Out 2, there's already going to be a spin-off show. I think it's coming out later this year or next year. For Inside Out, which is very exciting. And I think this couldn't happen to a better movie. I love this movie. These are the exact movies that you like to see people, of all people, go to see. So Inside Out 2, the biggest movie of the year. We're going to keep talking about it in this video. And number 2 is Bad Boys Ride or Die, which with Inside Out 2's heroic box office success at the box office, Bad Boys Ride or Die also is doing excellent at the box office. Its third weekend, only dropping 44%. Another 18.8 million. Bad Boys Ride or Die playing great alongside Inside Out 2, because they are two definitely different audiences, and Bad Boys Ride or Die is getting those viewers. 147 million for this movie. It was only cost around 100 to make, so this movie is making bank right now at the box office, and everyone's getting worried about Will Smith. Could he recover post-slap? And a lot of his people, including myself, didn't look past it and are back supporting Will Smith movies. And Bad Boys Ride or Die is back telling people that Will Smith, I think, will be here to stay moving forward as a leading man in Hollywood. But big win all the way around for Sony, who released this movie. In third place is the only new movie that hit the top 5 this weekend, which was The Bike Riders from Focus Features, around $9.6 million. Just not a lot of buzz with The Bike Riders. This movie was actually shown in the Academy, or the festival circuit last year, nearly 8-9 months ago to people, and it didn't get distributed until now, very similar to the focus is The Northman from a couple of years ago. And I think both movies will have the same fate where they have all-star casts and people who watched it for the most part enjoyed it. It won't be a major focus in awards season. It's a shame because again, you have Austin Butler, you have Jodie Comer. Again, these are up and coming people, especially Butler and Comer. Hardy was only really the main established guy who's been in Hollywood for decades. But Austin Butler and Jodie Comer, I think, are not going to have to worry about getting their projects in Hollywood. In fourth place, another win for Disney which is under their 20th Century Fox, which is The Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which will be hitting digital pretty soon. But in its 7th week in theaters, it is still in the top 5 at number 4, dropping only 31%. 3.8 million, 164.6 million. Now, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is not going to match the total box office of the previous 2 Apes movies, but what this movie has proven that there is an audience that wants more Apes films. But this has not reached the heights of the Caesar-led films over the last decade. So it'll be interesting to see what Disney and 20th Century Fox do with this franchise moving forward, if they keep moving with the setup that the movie ended with, or they try to find a more mainstream lead that can take them through more. But the good news is for this franchise that it is far from dead and people are still interested in this IP. Wrapping up the top 5 in its 5th weekend is the Garfield movie, only dropping 21% as being the lone animated movie right now, playing 3.7 million up to 85.3 million. It does not look like Garfield will be able to get to the $100 million club at the box office domestically, because another animated movie is hitting the box office on July 4th week, which is Despicable Me 4, releasing July 3rd. So this will be the last weekend where it's the lone animated film that's running Inside Out 2. That's the other problem for Garfield, is that it's going up against Inside Out 2, and then it'll be going up as another juggernaut into Despicable Me 4. So the fact that it's still in the top 5 just beat out If by $1 million, but the difference is If is in the $100 million club. But another thing is that Garfield was made very cheap for animation, so this movie has already made bank at the box office. Another win for Sony Pictures. So this weekend you had 2 Disney movies. You can count Apes because it's under the 20th Century Fox, which is owned by Disney. 2 Disney films, 2 Sony movies, and then a Focus Features is how this top 5 worked this past weekend. Coming into the overall, finally, Dune Part 2 is overtaken at both the domestic and worldwide box office. Inside Out now, including the Monday box office, $369.6 million domestically, now beating Dune Part 2 by $80 million, and that's going to keep growing. Dune Part 2 is at number 2 of $282 million. Big drop off now to around $200 million for $196 for Godzilla x Kong. Kung Fu Panda 4 is number 4 for $193 million. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes still growing here. Domestic box office to number 5 of $164 domestically. Bad Boys Ride or Die number 6 with $149 million. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is at number 7 with $113 million. And the 8th movie in the $100 million club is If with $106 million. Wrapping with top 10, not in the $100 million club, is Bob Marley, One Love and 9, and The Fall Guy at 10. So now we're up to 8 $100 million movies, but still only 2 that have hit over $200 million domestically. I think that will change. There's a couple movies in July that I think will be in the $200 million club domestically. July is a big month, and I can't wait to preview July next Tuesday here on the show. Right now, worldwide, Inside Out 2, not as big of a lead over Dune Part 2 in domestic that it is in worldwide. So Inside Out 2, $762 million worldwide. So 369 domestically and 392 internationally. Massive win for Pixar and Disney it will be in the billion-dollar club, and just needs around 240 million to get into that billion-dollar club and be the first movie of 2024 in that club. Dune Part 2 is number 2, 711 worldwide, just released on Max a couple of weeks ago. It's doing very well. Godzilla X Kong number 3 with 569. As I said, worldwide box office, both the domestic and the international combined. Kung Fu Panda 4 is number 4, 545 million. That just released on Peacock, and that's doing very well in there as well. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is number 7 with 385 million, with Chinese films being 5, 6, and 8 and 10 on this chart. And wrapping up the American part of the top 10 is Bad Boys Ride or Die at number 9, 291 million worldwide. So right now in the top 10 this year, we have, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the top 10 movies this year have been American movies, 4 of them from China. So this is the last weekend of box office in June. This summer is, for some people, just starting. For me, it really hasn't. So it is just moving at the moment. And for our last weekend, you have Kinds of Kindness, which released in only 5 theaters last weekend. It's going wide. That's the new Yorgos Lanthimos movie coming off of Poor Things, starring Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons. That's coming out this weekend. The 2 big movies coming out this weekend is A Quiet Place Day 1, the 3rd entry into a very successful horror franchise. But again, this is a test because there's obviously no John Krasinski, both on camera or in the director's chair. No Emily Blunt, no family. It is Lupita Nyong'o and Joseph Quinn taking up the leading roles. Are they now going to be bankable movie stars moving forward? We shall see. A Quiet Place Day 1. And then also you have Horizon, an American Saga Chapter 1 from Kevin Costner. He's directing it and he's starring in it. This is a 2-part film with the second part coming out in late August. But Horizon Chapter 1 is also coming out this Friday. So you have Kinds of Kindness and Horizon, both movies nearly or at the 3-hour mark. And then A Quiet Place Day 1 at 1:40. So you got 3 new movies hitting the wide marketplace before July becomes the most competitive movie month of the year. Let me know your thoughts on the box office in the comment section down below. Thanks for supporting the channel, and I'll see you guys soon.